Welcome back to another session on the topic of functions. The first question says at point 3, W, the two graphs intersect, that is f of x and g of x. Given that f of x equals x squared minus 2 and g of x equals negative x squared plus u, what is the value of u? The most critical component of this problem is when two graphs intersect at a particular point, we can assume that the functions are equal. Okay, so f of x equals g of x. Once you make this assumption, then the whole problem falls flat and it's very, very simple. So that in other words, x squared minus 2 equals negative x squared plus u because these two functions are equal. So if you bring the x term to one side, it will be 2x squared equals u plus 2, right? Well, we are told that the graphs intersect at points 3, W. What this means is 3 is x, w is y. W doesn't have much of an impact at this point, nor at least in this problem, at least in this case. We do know x equals 3. So if you substitute x in 3 in place of x, so that's 3 squared equals u plus w. So 19 times 2 is 8. 9 times 2 is 18 equals u plus 2. So u equals 16. That is it. So the takeaway is this. Okay, it's the takeaway. All right. F of x and g of x are functions defined such that f of x equals 1 over x minus 3. F of g of x equals g of f of x equals x, which of the following is equal to g of x. When you say f of g of x equals g of f of x, then f of x and g of x are inverse to each other. Okay. In other words, we know f of x equals 1 over x minus 3. We can substitute f of x as y. Okay, let's substitute f of x equals y, implies y equals 1 over x minus 3. Swap x and y. In other words, y becomes x becomes y. Solve for y now. So that's xy minus 3x equals 1, right? So xy equals 1 plus 3x and y equals 1 plus 3x over x. That's it. So just like the previous problem, first you have to recognize when you have f of g of x equals g of f of x, that means f of x and g of x are inverse to each other. And then you can make these substitutions and do all of these. Let's say we have x equals, y equals 1 over x minus 3, and we have y equals 1 plus 3x over 3, right? What if we substitute 1 for x? So this would be 1 over 2. This would be 1 plus 3 over 3. That's, sorry, 1. So this would be 1 minus negative 2, right? And this would be 1 plus 3 is 4 over 3. So negative 1/2 and 4 over 3. These are physical values of x, okay? If they ask for it, and say they ask you what is, if x equals so and so, then you can determine the y value under both cases and see which one of these is given in the answer choice, then you circle those, okay? This is an extension. You do not have to know this, at least in this problem, but it's better to know if the situation arises. All right, the function f of x is defined as f of x equals 5x minus 2. What is f of 4 minus f of 2? It's very simple. F of x equals 5x minus 2. So f of 4 would be 5 times 4 minus 2. That's 20 minus 2 is 18. f of 2 equals 5 times 2 minus 2. So that's 10 minus 2 is 8. So f of 4 minus f of 2 equals 18 minus 8 equals 10. Let function f be defined by f of x equals x minus t. If f of 12 equals 4, what's the value of f of half times t? Okay, we know f of x equals x minus t. Okay, f of 12 equals 12 minus t, and this is equal to 4. Implies 12 minus t equals 4, negative t equals negative 8, t equals 8. So what is f of 0.5 minus t? Would be f of 0.5 times 8 is f of 4. What is f of 4? F of 4 would be 4 minus 8 equals negative 4. That is, this is our x value and this is our t value. So x minus t would be 4 minus 8 is negative 4. The function f of x equals negative 1 for all values of x. Another function g of x equals 3 of x for all values of x. What is g of f of x? Okay, we know that irrespective of what the value of x is, f of x is negative 1. So that means f of x equals negative 1. That means f of 4 is also equal to negative 1 because it says clearly for all values of x, f of x is negative 1, right? So what is g of f of x? Which is same as g of negative 1, right? Because f of x is negative 1, f of 4 is negative 1. So irrespective of what it is. So we know g of x equals 3x. So g of negative 1 would be 3 times negative 1 equals negative 3. That's it. F of x equals 3 squared minus 5. G of x equals 9 minus 2x. What is f of g of 5? So let's first solve g of 5. So g of x equals 9 minus 2x. So g of 5 would be 9 minus 2 times 5 is 9 minus 10 equals negative 1, right? So we know g of 5 equals negative 1. So f of g of 5 would be f of negative 1 because we're substituting g of 5 with negative 1. F of x equals 3x squared minus 5. So f of negative 1 equals 3 times negative 1 squared minus 5. That's 3 minus 5 equals negative 2. Very simple, isn't it? All right, this will be the last problem in this video. There's only one more video on the topic of function, and that is all about graphs, okay? So without further delay, let's solve this last problem in this video. F of x equals an absolute value of 2x minus 7 plus 19. If f of c equals f of 3 and c not equal to 3, evaluate c. Very simple. So f of x equals absolute value of 2x minus 7 plus 19, right? F of c would be simply first replace, okay? Simply replace x with c, so it's 2c minus 7 plus 19. F of c equals f of 3. So what is f of 3? That would be 2 times 3, right, is 6 minus 7 plus 19, right? So that would be negative 1 plus 19. That's 1 plus 19 equals 20, right? 2c minus 7, right, plus 19 equals 20, right? We'll assume that 2c minus 7 is absolute, so plus 19 equals 20. 2c minus 7 equals 1. 2c equals 1 plus 7 is 8. C equals 4. Because c is not equal to 3, c can take any other value. We chose to get a value of c equals 4. You see what I did? All right, that'll be it. If you've learned something and you feel it's worth it, then please subscribe to my channel, share the video with your family and friends. Thank you for watching. I'll see you with the final video on the topic of functions. So please stay tuned.